What is up, my sunlight samurais? How are you guys doing? So I want to talk to you about testosterone and prostate cancer. And it's long been believed that androgens stimulate the prostate to grow and potentially contribute or cause prostate cancer. Because the prostate is a very androgen sensitive tissue, for example, it accumulates 10 times more DHT in the prostate versus in the blood, in the serum, anywhere else. So because it has been shown that androgens causes the prostate to grow, people thought initially that androgens can contribute or cause prostate cancer. So I want to show you that it's actually the opposite of what happens. Released today, testosterone prostate cancer, we've been lied to. So I talk about how they were wrong and why, but I want to show you a few of the highlights here. So for example, they compared people that were hypogonadal and then using TRT. So people that's obviously on TRT that were hypogonadal versus hypogonadal individuals. And they found that people that were at low risk for prostate cancer did not increase PSA when going on TRT. They did not lead to higher systemic progression and did not result in a change in prostate size or secretory activity. So it didn't cause problems when people went on TRT. So here's some human evidence that low testosterone increases the risk of prostate cancer. So low testosterone increases the risk of prostate cancer. So it's not causative, it's actually protective. So here in 2006, this guy found that men who had low testosterone had a much higher 21% risk of getting prostate cancer compared to guys that had higher levels than 250, only 12%. And here found that in 2013 that low testosterone was an independent predictor of prostate cancer. Another study found that lower levels of testosterone, just below 400, they had a higher risk of getting prostate cancer than people with over 400 nanograms per deciliter. So ultimately, there was a massive meta-analysis in 2009 found that this overall prevalence was no difference between hypogonadal men or the supplemental androgen therapy and the general public. So TRT does not cause the prostate to grow, does not cause prostate problems. And then here was a massive study that looked at over 10,000 people treated with TRT compared to 28K not treated. And they found that patients on TRT had a significant lower risk of developing prostate cancer. And here was another study, massive amounts of people being studied, showing the same thing. So then we look at not just the risk of prostate cancer, but the risk of aggressive, higher grade prostate cancer. So they categorize it in different groups here. So you can see group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then like a 6, 7, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So obviously the higher it is, the more aggressive it is, very aggressive. So low risk, moderate risk, and then very aggressive. So they found that men with low testosterone below 300 had a greater percentage of this grade 8 and higher of prostate cancer. So it's a more aggressive prostate cancer that these people get when they are hypogonadal. And then all of these studies found the same thing. And then also free testosterone levels below 0.45 nanograms per deciliter was associated with a 7-fold increase in the risk of disease progression. So again, more severe risk, or more severe prostate cancer when you have low levels of testosterone, low levels of free testosterone. So then we look at DHT and prostate cancer risk. And again, they found that recent papers had found that men with lower intraprostatic DHT had a higher risk of aggressive prostate cancer compared to those with higher intraprostatic DHT. So higher levels of DHT in the prostate protected them against aggressive prostate cancer. And then they also look at the effects of finasteride and dutasteride. It actually didn't, even though it lowered intraprostatic DHT, it didn't prevent getting high risk, these aggressive kinds of prostate cancer. In the contrary, it actually increased the risk slightly of getting those aggressive prostate cancers. So it's not a good idea to use these 5-alpha reductase blockers. And then ultimately, let's look at estrogen. So this is the most interesting study. They found that mice never got prostate cancer if they lack estrogen receptor alpha or aromatase. So, and then DHT, which cannot be converted to estradiol or testosterone, did not significantly cause prostate cancer incidence compared to testosterone in rats. So this was actually a few years ago. Doctors considered using DHT instead of testosterone because it didn't increase prostate size, it didn't cause prostate issues compared to testosterone. And the reason why potentially testosterone can be detrimental to the prostate is because it converts into estradiol. So what's really the culprit here is men, as they age, develop an increased testosterone to androgen ratio. which coincides with the development of benign prostatic hyperplasia, so growth or enlargement of the prostate. Lower androgens, higher estrogens, at least that ratio, causes enlargement of the prostate. And then also urinary problems. So it's this imbalancement that causes the problems. Elevated testosterone is actually protective against, first of all, getting a positive biopsy, and also protective against the high-risk aggressive prostate cancers. And the same thing for DHT and free testosterone. Now, obviously, the free testosterone gets converted into DHT, so you want to make sure that you're really healthy, optimize your testosterone, free testosterone, and DHT to protect against the risk of getting prostate cancer, and especially against getting the aggressive kind of prostate cancer. So it's not ideal to block 5-alpha reductase. So because even though you're going to lower DHT, it's not necessarily going to solve the problems, and it actually slightly increases the risk of getting one of those higher, more aggressive risk prostate cancers. And what's really the problem here is the estrogen to testosterone ratio. And the reason why estrogen goes up is because chronic stress, insulin resistance, poor sleep, nutritional deficiencies, inflammation as we age, and anything that disrupts mitochondrial function, that can be heavy metals, endotoxin, pesticides, those kind of stuff, plastics, anything that disrupts mitochondrial function will lower testosterone, cause inflammation, and increase estrogen. So you want to make sure that you optimize everything that I talk about to optimize your testosterone in my blueprint, which is linked in the description below. Everything that I talk about in that blueprint will help to optimize your testosterone and also your testosterone to estrogen ratio. This is key, avoiding the things that increase estrogen, optimizing your testosterone to estrogen ratio. That's going to help to protect against the risk of getting prostate cancer. So if you do have an enlarged prostate and you do have urinary problems, it's most likely because you have potentially lower levels of testosterone, lower levels of free testosterone, lower levels of DHT. And then also always look at what might be causing my estrogen to be slightly higher, or look at it through this lens. What is increasing my oxidative stress and inflammation? What is causing insulin resistance? What is disrupting my mitochondria from working optimally? What can I do to optimize myself? How can I improve insulin sensitivity, reduce inflammation, manage my stress, optimize my sleep quality? What is there in my system that's disrupting my system that is causing these symptoms? Because I've also experienced enlarged prostate and then these urinary problems. And this was always when I was really stressed, my sleep was suffering, and my diet wasn't as on point. So anyone can start to suffer from these symptoms when their lifestyle and the diet isn't on point. So optimize those first, and then those symptoms will likely go away. And the last key thing I want to talk about here is that the prostate is right next to the rectum. So a lot of people, when they have gut issues, specifically constipation, so inflammation in the colon, that inflammation then is right next to the prostate that will then inflame and enlarge the prostate. And anything that causes inflammation will stimulate aromatase. And then aromatase goes up, estrogen goes up, and that worsens its prostate problems. So make sure you look after your gut, you minimize oxidative stress and inflammation, and just optimize your whole diet and lifestyle. And this will optimize your testosterone to estrogen ratio, and everything. All right, guys, if you want to look more into detail into this, look at all of the studies that I linked. I will link the article in the description for you guys, and I will check you in the next one. Cheers, guys.